Okay, you're welcome to this session. My name is Ssebuyungo Wilber, a lecturer at Nkumba University, and today we are looking at curriculum development or curriculum studies. We looked at previously what we saw as the genesis of curriculum, and we saw that curriculum actually starts from the mother's womb and then later proceeds to when the person is delivered and the person is exposed to the external environment. Now for this session, we are going to look at philosophical schools of thought about curriculum. Okay, so here we have the word philosophical schools of thought about curriculum. Now the word schools of thought, the only word schools of thought means views. A single word is views. Another one can call them ideas. But the word school means it's a group of people who have views which are similar. So that's a school of thought. So when people gather and they have their ideas and their ideas are similar, then we say that that is a school of thought. When you find a population of young girls talking about abortion and that's what they believe in, you will never think that giving birth to a lively child is something meaningful, because they have formed a school of thought. They will argue you out until you leave them or you pair with them. So that is a school of thought. Now, in philosophy, the word here, another word is philosophy. Not to so much dwell in or too much of philosophy, but you know in curriculum, it is very, very central and imperative for a teacher to have the ideas of philosophy so that he can guide and facilitate teaching through curriculum development. Now, philosophy itself. Philosophy is simply comes from two words, and these are Greek words. In Greek, philosophy comes from two words. There is philo and sophia. To those who study philosophy, you find those two words. Philo means love, and sophia means knowledge. So sorry, sophia means wisdom. Sophia is wisdom, not knowledge, it's wisdom. Now we can conclude and spare these two words and mean philosophy means love for wisdom. So man's love for wisdom is philosophy. Whenever a person starts to quest for wisdom, that's why other people define philosophy as man's quest for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So when one starts to quest, that thirst inside the person that draws the person to start questing for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is what we actually pack in the word philosophy. So that means that you see the word quest. Quest means urge to seek for. Quest is the thirst one has to seek for. That's where the word question comes from. So etymologically, the word etymology is the study of originality. Is the study of the originality of words. That's called etymology. So, originality of words. What was the original meaning of the word? The word I'm talking about today. That's The people who created that word, what was their intention and what meaning did they intend the word to do what? To dispense. So that is etymology. It's like biology study. Etymo means originality of words. Logy is the study. Etymology. Etymology. Logy is the study. Logy.
So it is the study of the originality of words.
Yes. Yes. So etymology is the study of the originality of words. So there we have seen that philosophy is a package, a word which means man's quest for wisdom. And they say that words like question comes from the word quest. So everyone who brings a question has a quest, has a need, a love to know something or to discover something. That's the question. So you have to respond to that quest so that it is satisfied. So with the philosophy, we really question a lot. We ask and identify, like how Steve, who was that? The one who discovered the smartphones and the like, Steve Jobs, who said, can there be a possibility where someone does not need to have these buttons created and keeps pressing them? What can we use? That's a question which drew somebody into researching to get the answer to the question. So always these in philosophy, they are questions. Which questions, when they are answered, they build a certain perspective, which brings a saying or an idea or constructs a pattern of thought or an assertion. Those are philosophy. So words of philosophy are always packaged in such a way that they end with the ISM. Zim. Zim. If it is an idea, and people believe that when somebody does not have ideas, then that person is nothing, even if he can do many things without coming up with a new idea, that person can't even be of value. Then those are people who believe in idealism, or things which are not in real terms, like physical. You add reason. The things which are in ideal, they are ideal, not realistic. But there are those who believe that even if you have ideas, but you can't take action about those ideas, they are nothing. Someone has got to have something to do. So they want to be real. So their philosophy is realism. You get the pattern. If we are not social, and for you want to separate yourself each time we call you, you don't want to attend, you always want to revise by yourself, discuss to yourself, eat by yourself. Everything is about yourself. You are not social. To that person, that is his positive attitude. It is you who is seeing that is saying that is negative. And he's also looking at you, people who are coming together each time, as that is negative. You get that? Because that person is believing in a certain philosophy which is not socialism. Maybe it is personalism. You can create a philosophy like that. It is conservatism. That's a philosophy. So it is until this you go and start to challenge this school, that you convert some of the people there to your school, that your school will expand and you have more socialism believers than conservatism believers. So in philosophy here, we have Philosophers. Philosophers are people with ideas or thoughts. Those thoughts can also be called theories about certain things. You remember, to give you an example, there are people who believe that there is no God. And when they are referring to the things around us, they never call them creation. Okay? They call them nature. That one does not believe that there is life after death. So now, does not believe in resurrection. That is a philosophy she has adopted. But there are those who believe that in this world there is no God. There is even a professor there who says there is no God. When you engage the person in an argument that there is God, will tell you, show him to me. Let him talk to me. I'm here listening. Yes. And there is silence. Then you say, where? What are you talking about? So they say that's nature. So they are the philosophers are naturalists. Yes, they are naturalists, and their philosophy is naturalism. Then there are those who believe that there is God, and even the things we see came from Him. So their philosophy is they don't so much use the word nature, they call it creation. The creation called air, creation called. So they think that behind the creation, the things we see, even people are creation. There is a creator. That creator is God. Even their wording is different. So there is a creator who created the creation, and after creation, when people become creative, and then they form certain products and render services using the creation. So they are creationists. Their philosophy, we can call it creationism. That is their philosophy. Now, when we have philosophers here, these philosophers have ideas which are common, and they collect themselves. They have common ideas. They gather in one place, so they agree with one another. Whatever idea they bring, they say, okay, that's what we are all about. These ideas or thoughts and assertions, because these people are in one school, they have gathered there and have common ideas. So these ideas have common points of intersection. The different ideas have, when you relate them, they agree. They later on agree. So this is a school. So this is a school. A school is formed when the philosophers in that school have ideas which have common points of intersection. So they meet, they agree. The point of intersection here, we are saying the point of agreement. So that those philosophers who have ideas with points of agreement, we then call them that those are convergent philosophers. They converge because all the ideas they have agree at a certain point and say, yes, this is true. So we call them convergent philosophers. Convergent philosophers. Again, like you find another school which also has philosophers who also agree with themselves. Within their school, they agree that a certain idea has got to be like that. By themselves, they are also convergent philosophers. That's a school B. In their school, they are convergent what? philosophers because they agree. But philosophers A look at philosophers B as divergent philosophers. Why? Because their ideas are different from theirs. As philosophers B also look at philosophers A as having divergent ideas because their views, their assertions are not the same. Now, when the two philosophers A, who that school of philosophy, come in a meeting with the philosophers from school B, they form a philosophy called conflicting philosophy. At the point of meeting, just say it is a debate, philosophers A who have their say, for us, we support abortion. This one say we don't. Now they are coming to argue, bring out their points of their views. Abortionists and anti-abortionists are meeting. They will say these are our rights. A person is born, can do anything, and so these ones are saying it's not your right. And they will argue up to evening because that's a point of conflict. So at the point of conflict, there is a point of argument. We call them arguments. In philosophy, it is a conflict between ideas. But besides abortion, when you come to idealism and realism as philosophies, you will find that sometimes in philosophy you don't over argue your side and forget the valid ideas from the other side. So at the point of conflicting, there is exchange of knowledge at the point of conflict, other than real body fights hitting each other on the head. So here in the introduction, we have looked at the meaning of philosophy as man's quest for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But specifically, you have to mention about about wisdom. And you have also to mention about love or quest for the wisdom in the meaning of philosophy, because that's where its etymology is, its original meaning is. Schools of thoughts, we have said that there are different philosophers who have ideas which have commonalities or similarities in them. We have also looked at that if philosophers have ideas which are similar, they form a school such as A, and those who have ideas which are similar but not similar to the other group form another school called B. When these two groups of philosophers meet, they form a conflicting philosophy, and they are said to be conflicting philosophers. So that's the summary of that. Now let us look at what we call the schools of philosophy. In this session, we are going to look at 4 schools of philosophy about curriculum. However, there are also other schools of philosophy which you need to, through your research, you need to identify. But these are the major schools of philosophy we are going to look at. The first school is the school of perennialism. Then we are also going to look at the school of progressivism, and also the school of essentialism, and conclude with the school of essentialism. So in your research, you will add to those 4. Let us start with the school of perennialism. Now, like you hear the word perennialism, this is a philosophy. It is a philosophy which has a combination of ideas from various scholars or you can call the scholars philosophers. So the philosophers in the school of perennialism are called perennialists. They are called perennialists from the word perennial. You've heard of perennial crops, perennial something perennial, or perennial sickness. Sickness that does not stop, it is remaining the same all through.
Perennial crops.
You're used to perennial crops. So perennial crops, they live for long, and they don't grow old. They remain the same. They produce same outputs every season. They are what? Mangoes. Every season, mangoes, coffee. The common one you use, coffee. So perennial. Now this is a school of thought. The head teacher for it was called John Locke. Now John Locke was with other scholars. John Locke lived in the 1632 and 1704. With the other scholars, they developed assertions. Other people call them assumptions, others assertions, or ideas or theories. Now, these are their assertions as perennialists. They say that human beings are born plain and empty. From where we say the curriculum at delivery, that at that point you have your baby. That baby is plain and empty. And the external environment that writes itself on the life of the child. So the external environment is going to write itself on the life of the child. Nothing else. The child has been born like a plain paper. Nothing is on the mind. Yeah. Now, their idea of being plain and empty, a child is born plain and empty, was complemented with another thought or assertion that human beings are the same. When you're sitting with your friend, you are the same, and what they do should also be the same, because you are a person, you are the same as the other. So what you do should also be the same as the other. So their idea of similarity of people is the originality of the thought that people must be taught the same way, given the same materials, even in the lessons they receive the same time. When they are being assessed, they should be assessed. The same question should be given to them, and they are also expected to produce the same answers in the same time. That is the basis of what we call summative assessment. Now that they believed that human beings are the same, and what they do should also be the same, they were said by other conflicting philosophers who were divergent, that they were autocratic, that they dictate what people should be having. Even if you want to be someone of physics, but the lesson is talking about geography, you've got to be in it, because you are all the same. So what you receive must also be the same, and what you do should be the same. So the conflicting philosophers looked at them as being autocratic. It is not themselves, the perennialists, saying we are autocratic. No. For them, they see that is okay. They also add on another assertion that The rate of doing things is that if the rate of doing, the order of doing things is the same, and the rate of achieving results should also be the same. They say that the order of doing things is the same, and the rate of achieving results should also be the same. If I gave Mr. Kizito the task of taking out these chairs, all of them under the tree, and the order of placing them there is given. If Mr. Kizito is doing this and is doing it in 2 hours, I expect even Stella to also do it in 2 hours and assemble them the same way Mr. Kizito has done it. That's the order. If you've being given the same order of doing, should be the same, and even the rate of achieving the results should be the same. But the time that passed when Kizito is taking out should be almost the same time Stella should be taking out a second chair. Because if the order is the same, even the rate of achieving results must also be the same. This is the school perennialists. So we know that perennialists are always against what we call individualized teaching. They believe in clustered teaching. They are also against what we call student-centered approaches. They know that the master of the subject matter is the teacher. The student receives that is given and goes to implement it the same way it is given. So they promote either subject-centered teaching or teacher-centered teaching. That is their way. That the mind is a vessel to be filled. So the teacher will always fill that vessel. The vessel itself is just a recipient of whatever. Which later on, in the second school now, progressivism. Which later on, when the progressivists looked at the ideas or the assertions of the perennialists, they said no, that approach does not work. So progressivists, we take note of progressivists that they are conflicting philosophers with the school of perennialism. They are whatever the perennialists say, the progressivists just got the reciprocal or the opposite. They conflicted them. For example, the first one, which we said that plain and empty, blank. So the progressivists, what would they say? That a child is not born plain and empty, but is born with a dot of mind. They ask themselves a question. If people were born plain and empty, who teaches the infant to cry? Where does the infant get that idea? Then who teaches the infant? Some of them smile. Even, yes, suckling their breast. So that assertion, for them, they say human beings are not born plain and empty. They are born with a dot of mind. The external environment just adds onto the existing. They also go on the second assertion. Look at it critically and say human beings are it says human beings are the same, and what they do should also be the same. For them, they say human beings are not the same, and what they do should also not be the same. If all people were the same, then who would help the other? Who would do for you what you cannot do? Can a person actually do everything in the world to the extent that does not need any accompaniment from the other? You're the driver of the car, you're the mechanic of the car, the manufacturer of it, you're the constructor of the road where it passes, and so that is for those are some of the questions they pose. Even in this environment of teaching and learning, that not everyone learns the same way as the other, because people are not the same. They also go and say, if the order of doing things can be the same, but the rate of achieving results can be different. This one will complete the task in 2 hours, the other one 4, the other one. Yes. 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 They cannot get the same marks. And now these results members in curriculum results are different from marks and scores. The results of an education system an education system are excellent work, which is evident in very good designed products which are real life material. If it is a shirt, well designed and strong, those are products of education, of curricula. And also exceptional services. When you go to a bank or you go to a hospital and people are just taking care of you, those are results of a curriculum. When they do not take care of you, still those are also results of a curriculum which is not significant. So we differentiate scores from results. So those are the three major assertions. So the progressivists are also come up and say that for them, though they view perennialists as autocratic, for them they are democratic. They said that they are democratic. So they actually promote what you call student-centeredness. When you see a student needs something, don't say, today we are looking at this. Take care of that need. That's what they say. Then when a student is not good in one field, can be good in another. And again, being progressive, if the student or the learner is not good in this thing today, with more efforts, the following day can be good, or the next month can be a progressive achievement. Where the perennialists, when they look at your past report, P7, and they see past 7 in science, they say, no, you cannot do physics and the biology at the university. You see, In P7, you got past 7. Because they are perennial, they believe that people are the same. They remained the same. But progressivists will say, so you say you're going to do biology? Do for us this and we see. To test that you have actually progressed. All through the time you have not remained the same, but you have added to yourself. Actually, progressivists will look at the current state of life or achievement in relation to your past and say you have progressed or digressed. They don't only look at what you did that time only or what you're doing today. When a student is here, because they assess a student progressively, these ones, they promote progressive assessment, not summative. Or the progressive assessment is also called what? Formative assessment. The other word, formative. So in teaching approaches, they are more student-centered. When the student has an idea, they pause a little and listen to the student and say, can you try it out? The perennialists, if it is not their idea, they say, no, it cannot be like that. I have said. That's why some of the discoverers of new concepts have actually divorced from universities, and they have argued with lecturers and left universities to go and do their own experiments, because most universities are perennial. They have perennialists. Amina. Yet with progressivism, a student can come up with an invention which you have never known, and he has it. If the student is blocked, it is enslaved and it is blocked out. It will never come to existence. So some of the scholars in proposition of the school, you've seen Jean Piaget, John G. Lonsu, Crosswell, together with Harrow. Those people worked together. Crosswell worked with Harrow. We later on will see, and Frederick Froebel. There are many other scholars, maybe including yourself. You could have added yourself to the school of progressivism, only that I have not written your name there, and some others have not written them under perennialism. So those are some of the assertions. Remember that progressivism, in another way of looking at philosophy, there are some two philosophies called idealism and realism. They say that if you have an idea, put it out. Okay? Let the idea come out. Do something about it. They blend that too. The perennialists, they promote more of idealism. Just have the ideas, so they promote more of have the knowledge we give you. Please parrot it and memorize it. Repeat after me. Yes, that's it. Now, let us go to the third school, the school of essentialism. So, like the word essentialism is a philosophy with the scholars called essentialists. This word comes from the word essential, which means vital, crucial, relevant, and needed. Now, necessary, very good. Now, they say that things should not only be progressive, but essentially, they should be essential. Yes. Kabigasa.
Without it,
Yes?
meaning without it,
Mm,
there is no way you can survive.
very good. That's it. So without those things, there is no way you can live. Now, one of the assertions is it is essential to convert knowledge into skills. That knowledge alone is not enough. So people should have skills. You know the difference between knowledge. Knowledge, you have the idea, you can speak about it, but you cannot not do it. You have taught people about magnetism, that magnets attract and like poles attract. Is it like poles repel and like poles attract? But but the magnets are the ones used to make speakers. Do they know how to weave a certain speaker? No. Can they make their magnet? Maybe. You've taught them that you know to make a magnet, you can make by stroking the earth or by induction. Electric, there's an electric method where you coil a wire around an iron bar or steel bar, then current goes through that wire which is coiled and and it becomes magnetized. Can they do it? And we see that the materials have got magnetized. I tried it with a student magnetized, even the pins are still magnetized up to date. These are 3 years. The student is saying these are permanently magnetized. Because they have not lost strength. So, if there is knowledge passed on, they are saying that is not essential. It is essential when students convert knowledge into practice. They also add that it is essential to give relevant knowledge to the people. For them, they do not see any relevance of teaching someone fishing when he is living in the desert where there is no fish at all. You're teaching someone the Alps mountain when he's living and Mountain Elgon. You get it? Such knowledge is not essential. Talk about Mountain Elgon so that when it is a landslide, the person can avert from the landslides before they actually happen.
It's quite growing in Canada.
The Tennessee Valley, the Canadian prairies, with growing. Why Canada? Is that student going to those places you're mentioning to grow wheat? The teachers have never even gone there, even after meeting. Can that student after that lesson be able to grow wheat? And where? Even the wheat itself. So that knowledge, according to this philosophy, it is actually irrelevant. So it is not fulfilling the philosophy of essentialism. So it is essential to first assess knowledge and see, will it be relevant in the community where the learners are coming from, or even take care of the needs of the community. Because the other essential attribute is the society demands or the society needs. what we are teaching, would it be of relevance to the society? When I complete teaching or lecturing or training, are they going to go back and sort out the problems of the community? I'm teaching finance management, but the people's shops are closing. Hmm? We are teaching hygiene, but children's noses are leaking. You get it? And you're teaching cooking food, how it should be, but the people don't know how to cook it. So when they go back, will they sort the community problem? The more we teach, we are on social media, the more we are rioting and the more we are abusing each other. Are we actually social? Is it being social or antisocial? So the knowledge and the skills should be relevant to solve the society demands and problems. Then there is also an assertion of essentialists that values or the affective domain is a sign, like the word sign, you use sign theta, of course, is a sine qua non of all the other domains, such as the cognitive and psychomotor. Sine qua non, sine qua non. These are separated. Now, sine qua non is language. So we are borrowing it from a blend of Greek and Latin. Sine qua non means paramount, above all, and it should be done first. That values, you can, if you are to bypass sine qua non, you use paramount, the most essential. That values, values form a domain called what? The affective domain. When you're learning about domains of curriculum or dimensions of curriculum. So these values are the sine qua non, they are paramount, they exceed, supersede, and they are above the cognitive and the psychomotor. They ask a question: of what value is to have knowledge without values? Of what value is having skills without values? So when a person has knowledge without values, and this knowledge is about communication, you're so good at communicating, you end up communicating to you have had people communicating from MTN, you've won this, or you've been a very nice customer to us, and you have won a car, you please come at Uganda Road and pick your car. Or for you do that, and then they cheat you. Why? Because they have the knowledge of marketing and communication, but they don't have the values of love for one another, of being compassionate. So that is not there. They also ask if of what value is being skilled. For example, a skilled doctor who is facilitating abortion, and you can do it so well. You know how to save, which kinds of pills can heal a person who has been aborted. Okay. Thank you. Some appreciation. See, so you can see that what value would that doctor really dispense is he knows how to make a good surgery so that you abort the baby, you abort that child, and is skilled at it and can actually do it so well. A teacher who is very good at teaching the English language, but slaps a student to the ground. But he's very good at rumor mongering. So those are values which, according to the school of essentialism, that in the curriculum, values must be treated at a higher rating than knowledge and skills, because that it is values that govern what we call quality of service. So if someone comes up with something so good, it is a value actually, which he is believing that, when I take this, how will it be? I don't believe in taking that way, because values are so connected to belief and norms and culture. They are connected in there. Values extend to valuing respect of one another, respecting parents, and respecting the elder, even children respecting one another. That is in essentialism. You can expand the essentialism by going into a community. If it is the problem of the community is economy, people are poor, what should we do? You add some of the elements into the curriculum to make it essential to address those. If there was in the society, how do we? There is a lot of divisionism, tribalism between people. So how do we make the curriculum essential in countering such challenges in the community? So those aspects are added in the curriculum to make it essential to the society. Now, the fourth one is the school of Reconstructionism. Reconstructionism. That one doesn't have the vism. Reconstructionism. Reconstructionism, we write that hyphen and constructionism. So it is always there is a word construction and re. Always the word where you see the prefix re. It comes from the word. It comes from the word again. Redo. That is again also having a prefix re. So it comes from the word repeat. So repeat construction. Construct again. Sorry? That I'm saying that here in the word reconstructionism, we have reconstruction. Oh, what you are saying now. When you say the children, I thought you were saying, I repeat for you. Such a situation has ever happened to me when someone couldn't know the English language. Or she was in a shop selling passion and things to eat, snacks. So a white guy came in and he wanted something in the shop. I don't know what the guy asked, but in the English language, which this lady didn't know. And then the lady says, "Echichi." Then the white man says, "What does it mean?" So this lady thought that this guy wants to buy what does it mean. She crammed that word and ran to me and told me, "Nina customer, have a customer, please help me. What does it mean? Chitegeeza chi?" So, so I need to say, what does it mean? Kitegeeza ki? What does it mean? Kitegeeza nti kitegeeza ki? So when you said repeat, it reminded me. So now reconstruction. So it means that we're dealing with the curriculum. Reconstructionists believe that community demands change over time. Even knowledge and skills of people keep on advancing. The challenges of people are not static. They are dynamic, so they change over time. So even curriculum grows old, including the resources we use to teach, like textbooks, the videos, the audios, and all the resources, the pictures, they can grow old and dilapidate. That at a certain time, you may need to have others that have ideas added to them. So, sorry.
I said when these ones retire,
Mm-hmm.
so they have to be replaced.
Yes. So it means that there should be a time of going back to the curriculum and reviewing it.
That's why you said asking people change.
Yes. So there is need to review the curriculum and include what is essential and exclude what is not essential or the irrelevant, to make so that the curriculum remains relevant to the community and the society. That after the review, sometimes it can even call for a complete dismantlement of the entire curriculum and the creation of a new one. I always discourage adoption of curriculum. Adoption is like you can go and adopt someone's curriculum and plant it in your communities. So you can create a curriculum by way of participatory brainstorming and looking at what do we need to do about this. And that's why even in this course unit called curriculum, I was looking at saying that book is not sufficient for a student. We need to go and get the curricula of the national curricula and start to look at it with students. Diagnose it and see where it needs to be improved. And you can even get one for Kenya. If we don't do that, then that is not sufficient. The student will complete the course without knowing what actually curriculum is. In real terms, we'll have the basics of building a curriculum, but cannot build the curriculum. So we can now start to construct the curriculum when it is we participate, bring our ideas together, our skills together, and program. Actually, it is like programming, and the curriculum becomes renewed, reviewed, and renewed. Or in the language of curriculum, we don't say renovation. No, we review the curriculum, renew it, and that is called innovation. curriculum innovation. So the word used is innovation, not renovation. Innovation. Curriculum innovation. More details about curriculum innovation, you can look at for the national curriculum, you can look at Ssente Zakajubi's recommendation. There is what they call the education policy review framework by Professor Ssente Zakajubi and the team, which they came up with. You can also come up, you've been exposed to curriculum. You know you are curriculum workers. You are curriculum workers because even teachers should contribute. As you're teaching, you identify some gaps which you have to inform the National Curriculum Development Center to improve. Someone was telling me about a story in literature of primary, where the story talks about some girls, a man comes, the man comes back at home and finds a husband boy or some in the bed, and they say that's a story in one of the books National Curriculum Development Center did what approved. But I think they didn't read that part, or they read but there's someone who is promoting such kind of a value. You see, in those values, just as we talked here, when you're explaining them, you do not leave out what they call national values, because the curriculum must promote national values and heritage, so that each nation is separated from the other. Abali embwa bazirya, naye kati mu curriculum yaffe toyinza kugamba nti wewandiika katabo munagenda ku butya ne bamutemera kilo 3 ez'embwa, naye bw'oyogera nti ne bamutemera kilo 3 ez'ennyama y'ente, everyone will see yes. So even in writing content, you can't eliminate the values of the people. Yet kilo 3 ez'embwa can work so well in that country that treasures eating dogs. So reconstruction is there. So thank you for this session, and we've looked at the philosophical schools of thoughts about curriculum, and we said that schools of thoughts are actually also called views about curriculum, and the philosophy is man's quest for wisdom. Looked at that they are philosophical groups, or if philosophers have common ideas or thoughts or theories, those ideas form a school of thought. For example, we had school A. We also created another school of thoughts where philosophers had their own ideas for school B, which were not similar to the ideas in school A. So them being in school B, they look at themselves as being convergent philosophers in that school, as those of school A also look at themselves as convergent philosophers. We said convergent because their ideas have commonalities or points of intersection. But when these two schools, scholars meet or philosophers meet, from philosophers from group A who have ideas which don't agree with those from school B, they form a conflicting philosophy. Then later on we went and looked at the schools of philosophy, where we say the school of perennialism, which is led by John Locke, has assertions that human being is born plain and empty, the environment writes itself on the mind of that person. Also saw that human beings are the same and what they do should also be the same. Of course, he also complemented that by saying that these pioneers also add that human beings, okay, the order of doing things is the same and the rate of achieving results should also be the same. So they promote the idea of summative assessment, saying that people have to be assessed the same way and the same methodology. Then we looked at that conclusively and said that these perennialists are teacher-centered rather than being student-centered. Progressivism, we've also looked at it as being progressive and they were conflicting with those of perennialism. You only need to look at those of perennialism and get their opposite. That's what the progressivists say. You look at, keep reading more about essentialism and reconstructionism as curriculum developers. So thank you.